Hello everybody, welcome to back to a new video. Today we're at Road Atlanta in the BMW GTP, so we're not in the LMP2 today. But yeah, very nice car track combination. Love Road Atlanta, haven't ran it too much, so this is not going to be the fastest track guide you'll ever see in your life. I've already recorded this once, but halfway through I started to stutter a lot. Not the computer, this time it was me. It's a contagious disease from the computer apparently. So let's look at the fastest laps of the week. So it's about a 108, a mid 108 will put you very good. And bearing in mind, I think everyone is using the Cadillac, which makes me laugh a lot. I don't think I have even seen a BMW yet, which is sad, but you know, it's always going to happen. There's always going to be the fastest car. It's about, if I was to give a estimate of how much faster it is than the BMW, it's about 3/10 faster. So quite a bit, to be honest. But yeah, I just do not want to spend that money right now on the Cadillac, because I feel like it will get nerfed maybe next season, and it's like, wow, I've just switched to it and now it's nerfed. So yeah, a mid 108 is a good race lap. Let's see what the quali lap is. Okay, yeah, so the quali lap is a 109. It's not faster, maybe because of cold tyres still. But yeah, so this lap was a 108.598, which is, you know, it's not bad. Pretty okay, you know, decent. And there's still a lot to improve on. I just haven't put that many hours in to Road Atlanta, so take what I say with a grain of salt. There is faster ways than this for sure, but for how much I've practiced on Road Atlanta, it's a decent lap. So let's get into it. So here we can extend out this turn because we have an access road right here. So we can cross over into it. But what I was saying before is we don't want to get all the way over, if that makes sense, because by the time you get over, really far over, you're going to have to turn in, and you'll probably turn in too late, which just messes up the entire corner. To master this corner, you need to turn in early and just ride the inside and let it hug you, and it'll hug you in. So be careful, don't try and over prioritize this. Of course, do experiment. I haven't seen any of the hot lap videos, so I'm just going off purely of what I feel through the wheel. So take everything with a grain of salt, as I said before. So here we brake not too hard. So we brake just at the end of this access road here. That's a nice like reference. As you know, I don't use braking points for high speed corners really. So we don't brake very hard here. We can see my overlap, not very good, but you know, who cares? So we have it's not a hard brake, it's about 50%, and we trail off. Remember to trail off really slowly and use the 5th to 4th downshift as a method of rotation, because that's one of our tools of rotation. So when you shift from 5th into 4th, you'll be at 6th at this point, but when you shift from 5th into 4th, so this is 2 downshifts into 4th, you will get a slight bit more rotation if you do it mid-corner, which you'll now see. Boom, as soon as you shift down into 4th, get back on the throttle. Okay, here we start braking. I was saying before, we could use this HUT as a reference, but I feel like I'm being a bit too lenient on the brakes. I'm giving it to, I'm braking too early. It just feels like I'm braking too early here because we have a crest here, and the BMW just really hates on the brakes, especially with this setup, because the brake bias is really far back. So when you brake, this is the main problem with the BMW. When you brake, it just wants to kick out on you all the time because you have so much rear brake bias. And of course there are compromises with the setup to reduce that, but it still doesn't overcome the fundamental reason of why it's really like but the thing is, when you're doing just a trail brake, it feels completely normal. Like it's not like it's really pointy on the brakes. If anything, I'd say it's a bit too understeery on the brakes. But when you start to lock up, that's where the biggest problems start. So yeah, I'm being a bit too lenient on the brake. I'm giving it too much time on the brake. So I feel like we could brake later than this easily. So make sure you use this curb, and we stick in third. And as soon as this curb starts to end, we flick it in. Boom. Ride this inside curb. We have to have one wheel on the tarmac here. 2 wheels on the tarmac at the most. That's track limits. And then what we want to do is we can ride this inside curb a little bit, but we don't want to do it all the way round. And you might think, why? Well, it's a good question. It almost hooks us in too well because we start to get oversteer on it. So my recommendation is hook it on the first part and then get off of it. Boom, get off it. Boom, because when we transfer onto this grass, this is the main problem with it. So when we transfer it onto this grass, then the car will want to kick out on us because we're on throttle here at this point. This part is not completely flat out in my experience, but maybe with a different car it is. I feel like the Ferrari might be because it has the front wheel drive deployed, doesn't it? And we're going... it wouldn't be deployed at this point, so I don't think it will. So yeah, you can use this curb and hug it all the way around. Just make sure you get off it before the grass starts, because otherwise you will get oversteer. And it's not flat out. I like to short shift into fourth. It's not like a big short shift, but it is noticeable. And then this is flat. Okay, here we start to brake, and I used to like really smash into this curb, but I feel like if you just wait a little bit and turn in later, you sort of extend it out and straight line it a bit more. So I'd start to brake at the start of this curb, and you want to, the line is, if you follow my mouse, it's sort of, you miss this curb here, this little pointy bit. And then we get on that curb, and then we really throw it in. So I got a bit of understeer there. I feel like the ideal would be a third gear, and then we mount on top of this curb. And then we mount on top of this curb. The track limits here are really non-existent for this part here, so we can push them out as much as you want to. But then here, see that little dirt patch right there? We can't go over it. That is the key to the whole corner. It took me a while to figure it out because I kept getting 1X's, but I didn't really pay attention to where. But then I started to notice it's always on that dirt patch there. Just make sure all 4 tyres are on the road at this point. Okay, the next braking zone is in between the first line and the second line on the road, and we shift down into third. Really make sure you get the trail brake correctly, and then the weird thing about this corner is that you get on throttle midway, because you have like a tiny little straight after it, and then we brake again. So boom, we trail brake, and then once you reach the edge of the curb, we get back on throttle. And then we brake again. There's not really a good marker here, unfortunately. I'm just going to try and spot one. No, there isn't. You're just going to have to use sort of an intuition. Maybe you could halfway on this curb is probably a good marker. Okay, and then we have the first gear. We can either take this in first or second. I prefer second just because the first is off camber ever so slightly this corner. So if you do it in first gear, the rear end just kicks out and messes up the straight after it. You need to have a good exit here, so prioritize exit. And we get on top of this curb. Okay, we missed it on this lap. As I said, it wasn't perfect, but we should get on top of this curb. And then here again, we can get on top of this curb as long as 2 wheels are on the tarmac. Boom. Okay, so here we have the chicane, and there is multiple things that you can do with this thing. It's quite a nice, I love this chicane, not gonna lie, it's really nice. I hate the bus stop chicane in Spa, but I love this. I don't know why. It actually is flowy. So we can either stay in the middle of the track and then brake diagonally onto this curb and use it, or we can stay on the right and then we can get on this dirt patch there. And I still need to experiment with the dirt patch because I don't know if it will slow you down, because obviously you get the dirt on the tires. So what I do right now is I brake in the middle and then start to wean over to the curb, and I wouldn't recommend doing this if someone is really close behind you, because they're going to see this as an invite to overtake you potentially. So yeah, and we all know how much dive-bombers want to find a gap that doesn't exist, so this is sort of creating one for them. So what I'd recommend is to just, when you're in a race and someone's behind you, just brake on the right and use that gravel patch, the dirt patch there, and then get back on the curb. But if you're in a quali, we can use this, we can do this middle part, but I do experiment with this straight line and getting on the curb, or diagonally and getting on the curb, and we brake just before the 100 board. So we're in second at this point, and we turn in nice and early because we can cut a lot here. Boom. That's as much as you want to cut. You want at least 2 wheels on the tarmac. Boom. again, just on the curb here. Just about, that is all you want to use. Let me show you the reference from in-car. And then here again, we don't even want to get on the, you can a little bit, but I just don't, because it does slow you down for the straight. And then here, it's just go as far right as possible. And then here is a little sneaky trick you can do, is don't go all the way to the left in the quali, but stay rather in the middle of the track, because you shorten the distance, and it does give you a few hundredths of a second. Boom, and that was a 108.598. Let me replay it to you without me talking. Okay, so that was the full lap. This track is really difficult to get pace out of, so I wouldn't be too concerned if you're not on pace. At least it feels like that for me. It feels really hard to get on pace with it. I feel like people know it so well. So when someone like, when someone just doesn't practice it that much and then goes on it, it's hard to get up to the pace because the standards are so high, which I feel like I might be experiencing. But no, a 108.5 it's decent. Like if I can put a good quality lap down, and you know this can get me on the podium, so it's not too bad. But yeah, the setup that I'm running is B1 docks, and I was on race fuel by the way. And here are the splits, so we can see that we're quite close to the optimal lap. The optimal lap is a 108.4, which would be a lot better than this one. You know, a 108.4 is like one of the fastest laps you'll see, not ever, but you'll see in IMSA. So yeah, that's a lap to strive for me, at least. There are quite a few sections that do need work, but overall I feel like it'll give you a good baseline to work from. But yeah, I apologise that this track guide wasn't the best. I just haven't had time at the minute, back home from uni, and I'm just sort of relaxing. You know, quite busy at the moment with other stuff as well. So I haven't run a race in ages. I don't know if any of you've noticed, but I haven't run a race in a very long time. So I need to get back into it. But yeah, I'm just going to keep making these, keep doing track guides, keep practicing, keep getting better, because that's why I started this channel, to help everyone else out whilst also getting better myself. So yeah, thank you very much for watching.